Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for attending this event, Finance 2045. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Adri P. Martowardojo. I'm currently the director of PT Indokripto Koin Semesta Tbk with the ticker Coin. And we're a crypto investment holding company, and we have two subsidiaries, CFX and ICC. And the topic is very relevant today, Pak. The topic today is about how we move creative IP into investable assets. And today, we have a very special guest, Pak Dandi Yudha. He's the director of new technology from Kementerian Ekonomi Kreatif of Republik Indonesia, overseeing Web3, AI, blockchain technology on how to further unlock the economic potentials in the new economy for the creators in Indonesia. And let me look at my notes. There's a lot of signature initiative coming from Aircraft, ladies and gentlemen. There's the Infinity Accelerator 2026, the Kreasi AI, and there's the Infinity Hackathon. And recently I just got back from Singapore as well. Aircraft is very consistent in bringing Indonesian IP abroad. So we were in Singapore for 3 days in Takashimaya, and it's clear we see a lot of interest on the IP sites in Indonesia. But now we're talking about tokenization, Pak. And our topic today about how to unlock the potential economy. And why IP, Pak? Out of so many things that we can tokenize, there's properties, there's a lot of other stuffs, but why IP? Why Aircraft specifically focus on IP, Pak? Thank you.
Thank you, Mas Adri. First of all, my name is Dandi. I'm from the Ministry of Creative Economy. Very nice to see you all. Thank you for having us here. And before I jump to your question, let me ask, in this room, who owns the crypto wallets? Crypto wallets? One? Wow, it's quite a lot. I mean, because the adoption of the blockchain in Indonesia is quite good, actually. It's more than the number of the people who own the stock market, right? So it's very, very huge market. So why IP? First, the traditional problem of the IP is the IP financing. We have the laws on the copyright, laws of the creative economy who stated that IP can be used as the fiduciary or collaterals. But Ardi must know that the conventional system of the financial institutions are still very rigid. They're looking for the traditional assets, not the IP, as the intangible assets. So we are in the creative economy ministry looking at the potential of the IP. We want the IP to get a more added value in the term of economic. So that's why we are looking at the potential of the blockchain in Indonesia regarding the crypto and also the IP. We want to tokenize in order to solve the problem as the IP financing.
Very interesting, Pak. Again, when we look at these creators, Pak, it's spread into two, Pak. The well-established one and the upcoming one, the really, really early creators. And a lot of the challenge for the early creators is actually funding and trust of the products. And the domestic market is massive, but also the global markets. And I think it's clear that we need to be able to give them access of liquidities and so forth. Today, the topic is also touching on AI, Pak. And I understand Aircraft looking into the Kreasi AI. You've been soliciting how to adopt AI into content creating and so forth. And it's important to know about provenance, originality, Pak, when we do tokenizations. And if we adopt AI into developing the contents or enriching the contents, what's the dynamic, Pak, antara originality and the support of AI in helping to enrich the content itself?
Thank you, Pak Adi. First, in the next room, the other room, this morning, Pak Deputy prepared some presentation and mentioned some of the interesting findings from under the research. First thing is that people may think that the AI may kill the creators. It replaces the product from the creators. But the interesting finding that the 45% of the creators who create the video, the film, and also the graphics, getting helped by the AI, 45%, imagine. So AI is inevitable. When the creators want to boost their creativity from the, sometimes, when you do something, you feel like you had barriers, the creativity barriers. And then when you assisted by the AI, it will help you to boost your productivities. So that's the first thing. But regarding the AI skill that we are doing at our AI program, we also supplement the program with the how to teach the AI ethics to the creators. So one of the main of the supplement regarding the AI ethics is you have to be honest to yourself. Does your product represent you as the creators? Because it's the definition of the creators at our law. At our law, the creators is the person who creates something who represent themselves. So when you create something like a book, like a music, like a song, or like a movie, it should represent you. It should represent your personality. So that's the meaning of creator. So when you get assisted by AI, you should be honest.
Yeah. Interesting. I heard you mentioned gap Pak tadi. Gap on the knowledge of the understanding what is available out there, what technology is available, and what kind of format we can actually help to promote our IPs going forward. But also, I want to touch on highlighting the current situation in Indonesia. Do you think the gap, it's still far, or are we getting closer to bridge the gap into what you think of the ideal situation with the IP tokenizations? Because we understand OJK has issued terms regarding tokenizations and cryptocurrencies and so forth. And also the new Undang-Undang P2SK also touch on cryptos, and aircraft is active, and and there's an institution like mine that actually oversee the browse, the custody, and the clearing for consumer protection and so forth. How do you think it's the gap right now in Indonesia, and how fast do you think they all can integrate together to create what you expect to happen?
Okay, tokenization of IP is the future. Before we get into there's some prerequisite that we have to fulfill first. One thing that we need to make a stronger IP valuation. Before we tokenize something, we have to value it, right? Regarding the IP valuation is the things that we have to still learn from the best practices from the other world. So the IP valuation. And also, regarding the future revenues of the IP, at the end of the site, of the realization side of the IP, we have to also make a good infrastructure, the smart contract, and also, so tokenization is the future. Right now, we still have the gap between how to make a strongest IP ecosystem from the valuation, from the how to IP infrastructure, for example, like the IP registry system at the blockchain, and how about the smart contracts, the transparent royalty system, and this kind of the precondition that we have to be fulfilled before we run into the IP tokenization.
If I may dig deeper on the registration and the steps prior to the tokenization itself, who do you think will be responsible for that? Is it the content creator that have to do that, or is it Aircraft role to initiate that, or should be a third party that you think should exist in the ecosystem? But
everyone. First, the creators. They have to create a good product so they can sell it first. And the ministry and also the regulators like OJK, we have to set up the good regulation that enable the innovation, right? And also the industry, for example, like Burst and also the custodians, they are very important stakeholders because they build the trust, right? People want to invest in the IP if they have some trust from this kind of institution. So everybody are involved in this ecosystem.
Thank you, Pak. I think just to brief the audience a little bit, the trust is a very important component in the IP game at the moment. And we really trying to shy away from, the likes of meme coins and the people that speculates on cryptos and so forth, because the trend is no longer there in the short-term investment and the speculative approach of the investments, but the use case of crypto is actually very multiple use. And again, what Pak Dandi mentioned, it could be the driver of future Indonesian economy, and trust is very important. And I think the Indonesian government at the moment are very focused on, empowering these industries to grow further. And I'm just curious, Pak, is there any pilot project or your one project that must happen? Like if you can share a little bit, spill a little bit on the industries or the type of product that you think this is a step one to show everybody that is actually happening.
Thank you, Pak Adri. You mentioned earlier regarding the Infinity Accelerators, right? This is the program that we are running with the OJK right now. Basically, the program accelerates 10 projects, Web3 projects. They build a project for the IP, tokenization of IP. But once again, the tokenization is the one step ahead. The next step of but the program itself is how the IP can onboard into a platform, how the IP can get valuated, and how the IP can get the good ecosystem that enables them to have the access to more financing, access from the global itself. But once again, we're still setting up the platform itself, 10 projects, Web3. They're doing a lot of things. For example, like the cultural IP, the scientific IP, and the one project very focusing on the music. So very different kind of things. But the purpose of the acceleration projects, the programs, is to have a project that maybe can enter into the regulatory sandbox in OJK.
Okay, very interesting, because everything starts from there, kan Pak. Then there's 10 projects, and hopefully, because I think we're in discussion as well, Koin as an investment holding company, we're talking with BlockDev as well in participating with the community on developing these Web3 initiatives. And it's interesting, Pak, kalau udah masuk sandbox OJK, it should be more clear when we talk about the upstream, downstream. Going down to the downstream is much more clearer. And it's another challenge, of course, with the going down to the downstream. And there's some things we need to clarify as we discussed early on today, that not what we're trying to do here is not to replace the ownership of the IP, but to fractionalize the economic value so everybody can participate. And that's a challenge, Pak, ya, tadi kalau ngomong distribution of royalty and so forth. Can you touch a little bit, Pak, on that? What's your ideal end game, Pak? What's the definition when this happens? Is it only for fundraising, or it's up to the protection of the creators and how they can get royalties and so forth, Pak?
Thank you, Mas Adi. First, we know the blockchain, right? The technology is there, the immutable, how transparent, the smart contract itself. The technology is there. So what is the ideal condition for the IP in the blockchain, right? First thing that we need to set up the IP registry platform first, IP infrastructure first on the blockchain. And once again, it's not to replace the state registration under the Ministry of Law, but it's just to adding some trust layer. That first. And then the second thing is that if we want to set up the IP in the blockchain, then we really have to what do you call it? We really have to go to everybody on board. We have to, the creator should know what is the tokenization. You can imagine, if you have a friend, let's say that they're a filmmaker. They want to raise fund, for example, or they have the IP. And then they think like, he can sell this movie. And then he put the movie, the IP, on chain. And then he crowdfunding, for example, or he fractionalized the ownership of the IP by tokenization. And then people saw the possibility. For example, like he tokenized the future revenue of the movie. The future of the revenue of the movie, he tokenized it on the blockchain, and then people see that this is the investment instrument. People buy it, and then he got funding. So you can imagine how's the potential of it.
Very interesting. I've actually follow-up questions towards the funding side of it, but I know it's off-scripted, but I think we can invite questions from the audience just to get them engaged. Bapak Ibu, is there any questions you'd like to ask Pak Dandi? Please ask questions.
Yes.
Please.
Uh, Hello, my name Danar from Dari Avaria. It's very interesting topics about the crypto, right? But like some article that we read, like Warren Buffett, they want to put their investment to on it because they don't have any financial fundamental for that. Like different between a share, different between a bond, they have uh, law and they have asset under the the product, but the coin itself, it's a digital product that for our perspective, for financial perspective, it's we don't know what's the guarantee that the value it's not breaking down. Like now, I see in the beginning of 2023, maybe a lot of company it's invest there in the Bitcoin, and now the price is falling down. The asset it's nearly 50% cut off. How we are see it in the future for especially for finance is saving our asset value. Maybe we have a lot of things that uh, beneficially behind the not only the financial value but for the maybe for the blockchain, for the securities, for the not duplicated ledger, something like that. But from the government perspective, if government want to make it, what give us a safety guarantee for if we are put it our money on it, we will not lose it. Thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps Pak Dandi can address regarding the difference between IP and more of the investable tokens out there. What's the difference, Pak?
Thank you. Under the new law, you mentioned already Undang-Undang P2SK, we have like two different, right? The stable coin and also the RWA, right? Under the stable coin, maybe we know that stable coin is the crypto who backed by the fiat, right? It's a one-on-one comparison. But under the RWA, under the new law itself, it mentioned that it should be backed by the physical asset and also by the bond, treasury also. So under the OJK itself, right now, they already put in the sandbox three types of the assets: property, gold, and also the bonds. So it's still operational under the sandbox. So this shows that the prudent steps of the government pursuing this kind of issue, investing in something in the digital, like a crypto. So this is the things. And regarding the IP itself, I'm saying that tokenization is the way future steps. Before the tokenization of the IP may took place in Indonesia, I think we still have to strong IP ecosystem first. For example, like I mentioned before, that regarding the IP valuation, who evaluate the IP and how is the method of the IP valuation? We have the regulation right now. We have the law on copyrights who's mentioned that how the IP can be used as the collaterals. We also have we call it MAPI, Masyarakat Asosiasi Profesi Penilai, the valuator, IP valuators. And this year, the Minister of Creative Economy signed a regulation who regulate the IP valuators and the IP valuation methodology. But once again, it's still at the very early steps of the IP tokenization. So what I'm trying to say that regarding the crypto, investment in crypto, the government, in this case the OJK, as we know because we are collaborate a lot with the people at OJK, and we also attend the last OJK symposium, I think last week, right? We know that under the new regulation, there's some prudent action that government try to approach regarding this kind of investment. And regarding the IP tokenization that we are aircraft really trying to push it a lot in Indonesia, we know that this is the future aims, not the short-term aims. So that's why we're trying to put the 10 projects into the accelerators. We want to know how's the business model, how the IPs works. It's very, very interesting, since in a simple things like IP, we can learn from other countries like Thailand. Thailand in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, one of the company who produced the movie, they do a crowdfunding through the crypto blockchain. So they have the movie, they put it as a token, people buy it, but the people who buy the token itself is the fans of the movie. So this is the kind of crowdfunding actually. But
they can get future economic values as well.
Future
From participating, you can future economic value out of the movie.
The token utility. The people who buy the token can attend the premiere show of the movie. Their name are showing on the movie credits. Yeah. But imagine if we at the ACRAF, Ministry of Creative Economy, push this kind of thing. First, the crowdfunding is different things, yeah? Yes. Betul ya Pak Adri ya? Crowdfunding is different thing in Indonesia. And then the second thing is, if we do not approach the prudent action into it, and then the project failure, it's very hard to build again the trust. So I think for the first project, we really need to very
prudent need to be very prudent, maintain the trust. And again, just to add to your point, we understand Indonesian have a gotong royong spirit, but we're not looking into the crowdfunding topic, but this is a more structured way. And the platform, the blockchain platform itself with the smart contract, the usage are plenty, like utility token, you can get access, and then the distribution of the economic value in the future and helping sourcing the funding, it's all done within one platform, and it's an open platform and everybody can look at it.
And actually, Pak Adri is more knows about regarding his industries.
Enggak, Pak, not yeah, but trying to pick up. It's a fast-paced industries. I'm really trying to pick up. But adding to your point juga tadi, Pak, how to safeguard the investors. We have 20 million investors in Indonesia. Transaction 2025 was 480 plus trillion rupiah. So it's clear that the government has to put some measures to protect the investors. And based on data, they are like 30 years old. It's made up to majority of the crypto investors in Indonesia. So they do a segregation of duty, the 3 pillars business, and that's what we are in. So there's a browse, there's a clearing, and there's a custody. So with the browse, the transaction all recorded, and we monitor the transactions. With the clearing, we control the fiat. It doesn't go directly to the exchange to protect, the money going elsewhere. And after they bought the digital asset, 70% of the digital asset is actually in custodies. Meaning, if something, hopefully not happen, 70% of the assets that, the investors have, it should be still in the safe hands. So again, back to your point, Pak, trust is very important. And
let me add 2 more things.
Please.
On the symposium last week, one thing that I want to add that the minister, the DPR, want to also the LPS join to the industry to make sure the investors are safe. Yes. First that, and then the second thing is that let me scroll it. I think that's first.
Yeah, I think they start looking into this space as a credible assets.
Literacy,
education
the index
literacy.
Of the literacy at the crypto is very low. But the users...
It's our job, Pak.
Users are very huge, right? 22 million users, correct. Imagine. Correct. So it's very dangerous.
There's still a lot of questions, Pak, but I just want to wrap it up with one question, Pak. We've been talking about funding. What would be your immediate focus, Pak? Is it domestic funding or you are talking about global funding? I know that this product is borderless, 24/7, but the potential in Indonesia itself, the domestic funding, it's still there. But are you looking into global funding or Indonesian funding in the first 3 years?
Honestly, in the short term, we're not focusing for the domestic or global funding. We're really focusing on build the right infrastructure before it can go for the fundings. Okay. Because otherwise, the system will collapse. if you're not build the right ecosystem, the right law, and also the right ecosystem between the whole stakeholders in this industry. So the first thing we want to do is the pilot project. Hopefully that other than, from the 10 project, we can also do some pilot project with the industry too.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Dandi. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're at the end of our time. Again, just to summarize it quickly, this is new industries and it's growing and government really put the right safeguards here. Stakeholders like Aircraft also putting focus into this space, and trust is something that is very important. And building use case beyond speculative investments and the early investment, the definition of crypto, it's our job, everybody's job to educate ourselves and give literacy into the space as well. So again, thank you Pak Dandi. It's been very great talking to you. I hope it's fruitful for everybody. Sekian, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.